Hello, good evening. I'm back with a video again, and it was just the last maybe 1 or 2 days before that I made a video and uploaded. Thank you. Many of you have commented favorably on that, and I'm really happy to be here with one more video. It's about my book called Footnotes of History, A Tale of the Mahabharata, about which I have already posted on Facebook. I'm sorry. And there were a lot of comments that were coming in from Facebook. I mean, one of my Facebook friends really asked me whether Footnotes of History, A Tale of the Mahabharata has to do anything with the marginalization of the main characters and making the marginalized characters more important. Well, I really didn't have anything like that in my mind when I was writing the book. But I would say that history has always been just like a text, and being a text, it is something that is always amenable to edition and stuff like that. So history will always be a text which will always be amenable to editions. So it happens that some people win and some people lose. This is something which has always been the case. Excuse me. Sorry. This is something which has to be kept in mind. And I would say that Footnotes of History has many chapters within it. And one of the very important chapters that has to do with Shakuni, the character of Shakuni. Now, I was telling you in the last day that Shakuni is an extremely important character in the Mahabharata. Well, my poem, the part of the poem called Seeds of Discord Well Shown, has a reference to Shakuni and the dice that Shakuni used to use. I mean, the dice was an extremely important part of the Mahabharata war. It led to the Mahabharata war in many ways. And the dice was actually, now this is again according to an uncharted source, the dice was actually fabricated from the bones of Shakuni's father Sabala when both of them, along with their 100 brothers, as I told in the last video, were imprisoned in the Gandhara province. So it's called the Seeds of Discord Well Shown. That is a very important part of the book, and I'm sure many of you will enjoy. In fact, it's pathetic that Shakuni had to undergo a kind of starvation or mass starvation with his brothers. There is one more chapter called, that's the middle of the book. It's called The Tiller of Gandhara. I mean, this is something which has always occurred to many of us. That is, Shakuni, he was actually supposed to live in the Gandhara province. He was called Gandhara Shakuni. So what exactly was Shakuni doing when in Hastinapur, when he was actually to live and to rule and be in charge of the province of Gandhara? Well, very importantly, Shakuni wanted a revenge on the clan of the clan of Bhishma, and he had to remain in Hastinapur for that. That was very important for Shakuni, obviously. So a chapter has been devoted to what actually happens when Shakuni, a very important and clever man like Shakuni, leaves the Gandhara province and comes to Hastinapur. I searched a lot on the internet, and I came to an undocumented source where Shakuni had two sons. One was called Vrikasur and another was called Uluk, and if I'm not wrong, both of them featured in B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata for quite a short time. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Later on, you can put comments in the description box when it is on the YouTube, which will be posted on my own Facebook page. This is something very important, and we have to understand one very basic thing, that is, Shakuni was an extremely clever man, but he was also a great devotee of Lord Shiva, which I have already told in the last video. There is a chapter dedicated to or devoted to an unknown Yadava archer called Satyaki, who was also known as Yudhan, and who is said to have broken the bow of Dronacharya, as mighty as Dronacharya, 108 times in succession, when Arjuna was a bit away from the war on the day of the war of Mahabharata, and when Yudhishthira was extremely worried as what to do. He was the student of Arjuna, so there is a small chapter devoted to Satyaki, who was also known as Yudhana, and there's a chapter called the Tiller of Gandhara. As I was telling you, the deterioration of the kingdom, the decay, the rampant corruption that Uluk and Vrikasur were trying to contain when Shakuni leaves for Hastinapur and refuses to go back to Gandhara. This is something which finds a bit of a mention in my own poem. And there is another chapter which I have devoted to a character called Yuyutsu. Now, Yuyutsu was the only Kaurava who remained alive after the Kurukshetra war, because he changed sides and went with the Pandavas. And there is a chapter where after the war, Hastinapur and Indraprastha became one single kingdom, and Yuyutsu was in charge of that till Parikshit was young enough, I would say old enough to take charge, and the Pandavas left for their Himalayan voyage, which is a different part. And he's been shown to be a traitor-like figure, because this is what people believe him when he comes to the throne. And Yuyutsu is a butt of ridicule from my end. He has not been portrayed in a very favorable light, though it was actually a dharma yuddha and anybody could be with anybody's side. This is there. There are many episodes like this that find mention in the poem. There are two things that I would like to correct. In the last video, I said that the huge army of Pandavas were going to annex Matsya Desh. I'm sorry, please forgive me for that. That was a slip of the tongue. It was actually the Kauravas were going to Matsya Desh, the kingdom of King Virata, in whose kingdom the Pandavas were living incognito, which was known as the Agyatavas, which was 1 year Agyatavas and 12 years of Anvas, or the forest, or the shelter in the forest. So thank you for your comments. I have not yet got the book. It is going to hit the e-commerce stores soon. It will take time. I'm sorry, it's taking time because the whole world is going slow now. There is nothing we can do, and I'll come with the next series of videos where I'll basically try to give you idea about the structure of the poem. I'll read some parts from the poem itself. I just had a talk with the publisher today, and that's based in Mumbai. They are based in Mumbai, and they told me that it will take time to hit e-commerce stores. But thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your wonderful comments, for liking the last video that I posted on YouTube, which is there on my Facebook page. It will take time for the book to come. There are many other episodes. It's in 5 parts, each part having 3 to 4 narratives. There's a story dedicated to the hidden tale of Sanjay, who had the power of the boon of vision to look into the Mahabharata war and narrate it to Dhritarashtra. That's an imaginative endeavor on my part. So in the next videos I'll be back with the book, and I'll read some portions of the book, and I'm sure you will like them. And thank you all for liking the video. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye.